An absolutely crushing victory by Lando Norris on Sunday at the Dutch Grand Prix. That's got Red Bull Racing worried that not only is their Constructors' Championship under threat, but also their Drivers' Championship as well. Currently, Red Bull has a 30-point advantage over McLaren in the Constructors' Championship or the Team's Championship, whichever you want to call it. And that's a very small lead. And I think that's something that McLaren can probably win, and they could probably take the lead of that thing by the time we get to Singapore or the time we leave Singapore. But the Drivers' Championship, well, that's a different story. The gap that Verstappen has over Lando Norris, it's about 70 points, or is 70 points, I should say. And I made some notes on this one because Helmut Marko, who is Red Bull's motorsports advisor, he believes that Lando Norris can't be counted out of winning the Drivers' Championship. He had said that after the race on Sunday at the Dutch Grand Prix. Now, the thing here is, what's got Red Bull so nervous is the lap that Lando Norris produced at the very end of the Grand Prix, where he took the fastest lap and he got that one crucial point that's important in a Drivers' Championship battle, let's face it. But that lap in particular, on old, worn-out, hard tires, was something that they would not be able to produce. Max Verstappen couldn't have matched that. And that's got the whole team worried. And they should be worried because it was a huge lap. And you know what? Lando drove exceptionally all weekend. His qualifying lap on Saturday was absolutely incredible. But I want to talk about the upgrades because I find that this is going to be a story moving forward. And I believe that McLaren is going to have the most runway in terms of upgrades or updating their car in terms of cost cap, and then also in terms of that wind tunnel CFD design time. Every team in Formula One is allotted only so much time, and I believe that the McLaren still has quite a bit left over in the bank. If you go all the way back to Miami, they brought a huge upgrade to their car. They never really upgraded it since then. And then coming out of the summer break, McLaren introducing a sizable upgrade for their car coming into the Dutch Grand Prix. And here are just a few of these upgrades. The front corner, the front suspension, the floor edge, the rear corner of the race car, rear wing, beam wing, those were circuit specific, however, but the front and rear suspension being redesigned is a massive overhaul for this car, and the team itself extremely happy with what these updates have produced, and that has to have everybody, including Red Bull Racing, a little worried up and down that pit lane in terms of the amount of performance that they brought and how much Lando absolutely smashed everyone in this race. As for Red Bull Racing, not a lot of upgrades for them this weekend. It's a little concerning when you look at it. They had brought in a big upgrade to this car a few races ago. Didn't really turn out all that well, and they haven't really done well with their updates as of yet. Most of the stuff that they brought, circuit specific, but some of it also performance flow conditioning, so there are some performance gains to it, but not a lot. Coke and engine cover, that's circuit specific for cooling, and then some parts on top of the halo, extra downforce, and same with the mirror stays as well. That's also extra downforce. So moving forward, this upgrade battle that these teams are going to be having is going to be fascinating to watch. And if we look at the driver pairings, Verstappen, Perez versus Norris, Piastri, kind of favors McLaren in that regard, where Perez has been struggling as of late. Didn't have a great end to this race on Sunday either. Going to need a little more from him moving forward. Want to talk about Ferrari real quick because, again, made some notes on them. P3 for Charles Leclerc, P5 Carlos Sainz. It was interesting because on Saturday, Charles Leclerc said that they would need a miracle if they were going to get a podium on Sunday. Well, apparently that miracle arrived. Great strategy from Ferrari, but one of the things real quickly that I looked at with this car, their pace across the weekend, was the long runs and also the performance runs, so the push laps in qualifying. Qualifying runs, not the strongest, but the race running, the long runs, the car looked really strong, which is quite surprising because they have really been struggling all across the board ever since they brought a big upgrade to Imola, which was quite a few races back. But for them, moving forward, having a strong race pace, that's great for them to build off of. And again, remember, Lewis Hamilton going to that team next season, and it's going to be crucial that they get this program back on the right track. So the P3 on Sunday at the Dutch Grand Prix, also Carlos Sainz's great drive to P5, that's going to help them. It's going to give the team a little bit more motivation to push more in the upgrade department. As for Mercedes, also not a great day by Mercedes. I heard from Toto Wolff following this one. He did confirm that Kimi Antonelli will be running free practice 1 in Lewis Hamilton's car for the Italian Grand Prix, so in Monza, so next weekend. He also confirmed that Antonelli would not be moving over to Williams anytime soon to take over for Logan Sargent. Obviously, James Vowles has become extremely frustrated with how things are going with the team, and Logan at the moment. Logan had a big crash on Saturday in free practice 3, didn't get out for qualifying, and that car was heavily upgraded as well, so brand new parts on that Williams machine. So it is rumored that James Vowles is looking at trying to replace Logan within the team as soon as possible. One thing I think that Toto didn't rule out was conversations between himself and James Vowles. They have a very close relationship. Obviously, James used to work for Toto, but on top of all that, one of the things that he wouldn't rule out was Mick Schumacher possibly going over to Williams as well. But it was also reported that James is also in talks with Red Bull Racing to try and get Liam Lawson into that car to replace Logan Sargent as soon as possible. So we'll wait to see what happens on that front. As for Alpine, so during the summer break, there were a lot of rumors that came out that Alpine could be trying to sell their team. Well, I heard from Flavio Briatore over the weekend, and he addressed these rumors, and he had said that Alpine wasn't for sale and they weren't looking at selling the team either. For them, I think it looks like they just want to become a customer team, something to like what McLaren is, where they buy everything from, let's say, Mercedes. Even though the Alpine-Mercedes relationship would be an interesting one, Mercedes would need to find a replacement for Aston Martin for 2026. So why not Alpine? That could easily fill that role for both teams, getting their power units from Mercedes, Mercedes getting the money from Alpine. Simple, done, easy. That's the Dutch Grand Prix. Italian Grand Prix is up next weekend. Should be a good one. This championship battle is raging on, and it's been fantastic, and we'll see you then.